Good morning. It's Orbital Vaping Headquarters. I'm Eli Juicy Jones. Hey, how is all that Aspire stuff that we reviewed this year holding up? Stick around. We're going to have some coffee and hang out and have a VapeAM where that's what we talk about. It's VapeAM. We're going to look at our Aspire stuff. How's it hanging on? And are we still using it today? Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I'm Eli Juicy Jones. This is Orbital Vaping Headquarters, and you're tuned into VapeAM, our Wednesday and Saturday morning show on YouTube. Every Wednesday and Saturday, 8 o'clock in the morning, we do this for an hour. Today, we're going to talk about Aspire, and here's our beautiful Aspire selection of all the stuff that we got this year and reviewed. And I was just thinking that with the Puxos kit coming out and with the new Sprite kit coming out, that it'd be pretty cool if I just sort of talked about this stuff. Am I still using it? How are they holding up? Are they any good still? Do I still feel the same way as the day I reviewed them? We'll just talk about that. I've got the chat up here for fun for you guys. If you just want to chat, we're just going to have a live show hangout. And we are all just having a great Saturday. I want to thank everybody who tunes in live. This is a live show, but if you're watching on the replay, then just chat along with us in the chat thing. That's just fine. If you leave multiple comments, no big deal. And we are just going to discuss this stuff. Tell me what you think about your Aspire gear, or if you want some, or if you've heard about it, or if it's bad or good, no matter what. I want to hear it. And if you haven't joined us in Discord, do that. Click on the link down there. We're in Discord chat all the time. And also join us at the West Coast Vape Expo, which is going to be July 6th through 8th, really soon. 2 more weeks, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, out in Bremerton, Washington. It's going to be fantastic. If you're going, make sure that you message me and meet me. I'll be there at the Van Gogh Vapes booth and at the iJoy booth. And it's written in stone. We're on our way. So Brady will be there. I'll be there. Rob will be there. Everybody who can will be there. Gary can't come, it turns out, but he was going to. But anyway, everybody, join us. So, hey, there's Heinrich Hempson, Josh Harper, Mark Jones, Green Chronic, Dude Ming, Pat, Josh, Layton, glad you could join us, Sammy Joe, Michaela, Angelo, who else? Jameson. Thank all you guys for showing up this morning. So here is, hey, Mark Jones, great to see you. Here is what we got from Aspire this year. From Aspire, we got the SkyStar kit, which is a dual 18650 mod with the Revo, their brand new technology, RDTA style flat coil top. This has been copied 4 or 5 times now since they did this. One of the hottest things this year, this idea of the flat coils. In this kit, the next thing they sent us was the feed link, which is a really cool single 18650 squonker with a silicone bottle, a real silicone bottle, and a Revo Blast, which is a squonking Revo. Oh yeah. And that came out after that. And then the Breeze 2, which is a mouth to lung or direct to lung, frankly, pod device that's refillable and comes with a special coil they redesigned to be usable with nic salts at 1.0 ohms. This stuff is pretty good stuff. Now, the first thing that I absolutely love about, or I want to note about these devices, is that these are a huge departure for our channel in that these are 18650 devices. And I never, I abandoned 18650 devices almost entirely almost 2 years ago, and we've only been doing 2700 mods since then, and they're just all piling up. And the reason for that is because 20 and 21700 are the new thing. You can see other videos for the reasons why that I've made, but I made an exception here because Aspire about 2 years ago brought all of their chips in-house with an engineering department, and they actually made their own chips. And so I wanted to try this out. This is a version of what's coming on the Puxos next Monday, which uses a 21700 battery. And so I wanted a preview of what I was going to be getting when I finally got a 21 millimeter battery mod from Aspire. And the results were very good. The Revo, the SkyStar, is an extremely good touchscreen mod. This thing never accidentally fires. It's got all the features I need, and I absolutely kind of love it, actually. It's strange how this thing never screws up, whereas all the other touchscreen mods I have, for some reason, I get mistouches and misregisters. Like, you'll notice that you have to swipe up, and I may have to do it a couple of times, but the result is that it does not ever make a mistake, which I really like. So I've got that on soft, go back to hard, up and down. Has a bunch of features like a clock. This is just a great mod. So I recommend this highly to anybody. And it gets fantastic battery life. Just amazing. When it comes to the Revo, there are two Revos. One came on the FeedLink and one came on the SkyStar. And the difference is pretty large, actually. The FeedLink version is the Revo Blast. And the Revo Blast has completely taken over for me, for the Revo. I actually don't use the Revo anymore almost ever. And the reason is because of the differences between these two guys. I use the SkyStar constantly, and I would replace it if I broke it. But the Revo itself, the reason why I use the Blast more and not the main one is, or I mix them up, is because the airflow on the Blast is about half of what the airflow is on the regular Revo. As you can see here, they both have 3 holes in the top. And this one on the Blast is much smaller. The smaller capacity is kind of a pain, but there's a squonker on the Revo Blast. And so I use this quite a bit on my Capo 216. I also want to note that there's a gigantic difference between the insides of these things too. When I take the caps off, you'll see that the caps themselves are fairly similar. I doubt that you could tell the difference between which one of these is which, between the Revo Blast and the Revo. But the top is different. They redesigned this cone so that it's shorter and flatter and has more airflow holes coming into it. And there's no longer a top feeder like this one has, where you press it down and put e-liquid in there. It just feeds from the bottom. So to manually feed this one, you have to actually open it up, take the coil off, grab some delicious House of Candy black licorice, which I love this stuff. I'm in the minority, I know. And then you can just sort of squeeze some in there. And that's the very fastest way to fill it. But having said that, it is absolutely a good squonker too. I never ever do this until the first time that I squonk. And so you put the coil back on there. And then to save all that trouble, you can simply squonk. But they made this thing lower in order to accommodate the slightly different top cap design. I'm going to tell everyone to refresh there. If your video is acting strange, then make sure you refresh. Please. All right. Yeah, there we go. I got the audio off. And so this is something that you then put on your squonker, which I guess this will take me to the Revo Aspire kit. I don't like the vape of the Revo under 90 watts, 85 or 90 watts. And this bypass doesn't really give me that on my 2700 or my 18650s. So if this were a 2700 squonker, say like the Pulse 80 watt, or if it's on anything else, say this, I like it a lot better. And so I have been using this Revo Blast on my Capo 216 almost exclusively. This is a killer kit. There is tons of vaping in this with long battery life. And so I'm just a very big fan of this kit. I'm at 109 watts right now. That's a lot of vape. I love that black licorice. It has a very like earthy taste to it. A very spicy. It isn't that spicy either. Love it. The Revo is still for people who want lots of vape, big exposure, lots of vape. Lots of vape, lots of air. It's not a flavor chasing atomizer, and even though it does have very good flavor, but it's for big clouds, just so you guys know, even though it's pretty good at lower vapes too. Some people vape this at 60 watts. Some viewers tell me this all the time. And for me, I don't find it very satisfying. Flavor is really good, though. Simply not my style, though. But still, this thing is still in use by me. Still use it all the time. I use it on the Capo 216. That's my bag, baby. And you can see me there. I'm squonking into it as we speak. I don't have my camera set up especially vertically. But as you can see, there I am just squonkulating away. And that's how I keep this thing satisfied. Remember that when you're squonking with the Revo Blast, leave a sort of largish bubble in there. Not a huge one, but leave some kind of bubble in there. Don't try to fill it all the way up to the top all the time. You just need it to sort of slosh a little bit back and forth. That is good. Yum. So that's how I use the Revo Blast. The regular Revo, I'm quite fond of using this thing on just regular dual battery atomizers. But like I told you, I use 2 batteries with this and not 1 because I like it at 99 watts. And you'll see that I've actually dropped this one and it didn't break. I can't remove the top anymore because that's right where the threads are. But this is funny how mine took a drop and didn't break. One of our viewers, Gary, dropped his and ruined the little cage inside. That stopped working, and so his didn't survive a terrible drop. But these things are pretty durable overall. And as you can see, I've got 2 of these and a Revo Blast, so obviously I like them. I love those with this mod. I use this mod also because if you press the button 3 times, it goes into stealth mode and it'll vape without any lights. And so I use this with mouth to lung stuff in the movie theater quite a bit, actually. You can't hear that. I just remembered because the mic isn't. Got to pick that up. But it was vaping. Hey, William Lyman. And so let's talk about the feed link. By the way, if you're just joining us, I'm Eli Juicy Jones. This is Orbital Vaping Headquarters, and we're just having a little hangout. I've got the chat open here, so everything you guys say comes in. And we are just talking about all the Aspire stuff that's come in this year, and whether I still like it, and if I'm still using it, and if I would replace it. We've gone over the SkyStar, and of course, I would definitely replace that mod. It's a gem of a little mod with a great chip that gets great battery life and has a ton of features. That's this little guy right here. I would replace my Revos if one of them broke, but I would get the Revo Blast, which is my favorite one, and I use it on my Capo Squonker. This thing is an indefatigable little vape. I get very good battery life on that. I was going to say gas mileage. And then we were going to talk about the feed link. The feed link is the single 18650 Squonker, and I really like this thing. I don't like any 18650 mods much, except for the SkyStar and this one, honestly. And the reason is because Aspire has kept this to about as simple as it needs to be and still be really useful. It's just got a basic protection circuit bypass mode in here, and that tells us the battery is charged. When there's 2 colors here, orange and blue, that means the battery is in the middle. And when it turns orange, that means the battery is almost dead. It's got a good 510 that is spring-loaded. And this thing comes with the Revo Blast. But frankly, I personally like to use this because it has an 18650 in it with something like the B2K or with my SRDA from iJoy. Oops, looks like we lost a diffuser. Or my SRDA from iJoy. Because these, for some reason, just because of the resistances, I can set the resistance on this, and this has a low ramp up time with these. And so I just really enjoy using these. This also has the benefit of having a real silicone squonk bottle inside here. It's really made of 100% real silicone. I asked the lab, the engineers at Aspire, to tell me that. And here's some more black licorice. And it has a nifty little top fill system that has a valve on it that lets air escape while you're filling it up. So you guys have seen me do this quite a few times on the channel, but there we go again. And it has a little drop tube inside there that manages itself. That's rigid. So this thing works beautifully. It's a cool piece of engineering, and it's got some nice features, and it comes with a Revo Blast. Even though I use a Revo Blast with a different squonker, you might be perfectly satisfied with it. And frankly, getting a Revo Blast and this feed link was, I thought, a pretty good deal for what you get, even if I'm not using them at the same time. But I actually love this thing. Oh, the Jimmy. Ha! The Jameson says he doesn't know how I'm vaping black licorice. It's just delicious. They made it a little bit sweet. It's got that anise taste to it, but it's a little bit lightweight. It doesn't have that harsh spiciness that might ruin it. Let me just focus that down so it looks cooler down there. It doesn't have that harshness, and it's not a menthol. It has a good front of the mouth sweetness to it. I can tell they've added a few sweeteners to it, but it's not a gunk. It's not a gunky vape at all. Oh, it's so delicious. I think, Michaela, you should try this if you like black licorice. She said so. So I really wish, my complaint about this is that I really wish it were a 2700 mod. If this were a 21700 mod, I'm absolutely convinced that Aspire could radically disrupt this market with this thing, because it's made of metal, it has replaceable doors or different doors. And if they fixed this, I still complain about the doorway. To get the battery cover off, you have to manage this little finicky piece of metal. And it's okay, I haven't lost it yet, but you certainly could. Looks like I may need to rewrap that battery one day. And then this little guy, screw it in there. But so I would probably try to adjust this, but I don't really want them to change this too much, because I like how low profile it is. This thing is the smallest thing it can be. And the only plastic on this entire thing is the button right here. So I really like this thing. It really works fantastically. And like I said, I don't think it's a con for me that I have to use it with different RDAs than they recommend. This is our friend Jeremy Fuchs. Hey JT Munn, how are you, buddy? Nice to see you. This is our friend Jeremy's drip tip he has in here. But this, the ramp up time with this and with my single coils that I build, I should tell you what the resistance is on the single coil so you know what I'm using with the feed link. This is 0.2. So I'm using a pretty high 0.2 build here, and this is about 0.13 in here, and the ramp up time is just real good with both of these. And you guys that like singles know how it is. So if you're using single 18650s now and you're happy with it, then, and you're happy on bypass, then this guy's real good, I think, the feed link. Jameson, I'm not sure if he's here today, but he will, if he isn't up yet. Jeremy will be in Discord later. If you guys don't join us on Discord, make sure you get on Discord, and we're chatting there, you know, day in, day out. It's a place where the Vape fam hangs out. JT Munn is our friend who loves MTL vaping and single coils and stuff, and he has lots of super nice setups. And it would have been nice to have you chime in during the Instagram live we had before this too, because Chris Denton and I and everybody, we were talking about the pod systems, and that is a nice segue into the final item of the Aspire stuff that I've gotten this year that we're talking about again, and that is my Breeze 2. You can see that my Breeze 2 is a little beat up. I actually use it. This little guy is the one where you change the coils in here. I have the 1.0 ohm coil in here, the one that is designed specifically for Nick salts. And it is pretty darn good. I still really like this thing. It has a button. The pods come out, and you can finally get these in the UK as of Monday, by the way, they're replacements. But I haven't had too much of a problem refilling this thing. And I still just like this. The only complaint I really have about this is that the battery seems small, but it's not. This thing still has like a very large battery for its size. I think it's 1000 mAh or 1200 mAh, and still in its class, it's really, really large. Most of the devices like this have really, really small batteries. But so I'm still using this. Squirt, I'm still using this. And, oh, there's Jeremy Fuchs. There he is. Yeah, he chimed in. I'm still using this guy, and I throw it in my pocket, and I vape Nick salts through it. And that's my method. I totally take this to work. I take it to movie theaters when I got to go. I take it to places where I'm having dinner with the in-laws. I like this thing. The coil has amazing flavor. And to be quite honest, I wish I could find my other 1.0 ohm coil. I had a bunch of these 1.0 ohm coils, but I lost my 0.6. Oh, I'm so sorry. The police are here. They're running around Seattle making noise. I'll just do a little look at this. And there is our friend Roan Yoon. Good to see you. Mike Burryneck, great to see you. This is a little temperature control device that's built in. This is a bypass mod. Someone is asking what the wattage maximums are these. This is a bypass mod, so this maximum wattage depends on your build. So with my 18650s in here at 0.2, my 18650s are 20 amp. The resistance is 0.2. I'm on steam-engine.org. Let's say 4 volts. Yeah, 20 amps. It's 80 watts when you first start it on this thing. And then it goes down from there. So it's a little bit much when I first put the battery in, but it gets really great after a while. And then the battery's dead. Then you change it. I did that math by looking at steam-engine.org, by the way, which is where you go to do your Ohm's law calculation, or on your mobile phone. I can't do that right now on the show. So I'm a big fan of the Breeze 2. I really like this thing. It's got a huge reservoir in there. I mean, it isn't really the kind of thing that I have to fill it up a lot. And to be frank, with the Nick salts, I barely have to change them. I think I've only changed this tank fully. I've only vaped it all the way out one time, and every other time I've kind of dripped it out and rinsed it out and put new stuff in because there's just so much in here. And McCampton has the Infinix and says bad battery life. Yeah, and our friend Kenneth Epps, one of my oldest friends from middle school as a child, I contacted him on Facebook, and he bought one of these things. And he is, was a hardcore 2-pack smoker, or pack-a-day smoker, maybe 2. And he was vaping on 18 milligram, and it wasn't satisfying him. So I told him to get Nick Salts in 50 and get one of these Breeze 2. And it's much better, but he still out vapes this. I think for him, he's at that point in the quitting where it is the hardest and you need the most nicotine. So he's probably chain vaping on it. And I think that'll get better for him as he's able to slightly quit and get off the cigarettes. He'll be going to this a little bit less. But until then, he may have to discharge it a lot, or maybe buy 2. Not sure. There's not many of these that have much bigger batteries than this. Yeah. I love this thing. So we're about halfway in. I'm Eli Juicy Jones. This is Orbital Vaping Headquarters, and we're looking at all the Aspire stuff that we got this year and just kind of re-reviewing it, just sort of going over it again, talking about whether I would buy it again, and going over some of the stats. I was just saying that I would probably not buy the feed link again until there's a 2700 version of this, but having one, this is one of the only 18650 mods I actually use. And the truth is, if I broke my Revo Blast, I would buy another one of these in an instant to get another one. So the answer is yes, I'd buy another one. The Breeze 2, absolutely would buy another one. This is a staple part of my pocket. I carry this all the time, and they're not expensive, and you can replace the pods, carry 2 of them. Mine had a lid that did not stay on it, so I never used it, but maybe yours will clip on. I've asked several people, and they said theirs stayed on, and mine doesn't, so bummer for me. And the SkyStar, if I broke this, would I replace it? Yeah, I certainly would. Unless Aspire came out tomorrow with the dual 2700 mod, I would actually replace this because I actually like this 18650 mod. It's molded to your hand. It's all curves. It has plastic doors, but it feels super premium. This is all metal. The touchscreen never screws up. It has a clock on it. It has a quiet mode where it doesn't have any graphics on it at all. So anyway, this thing is amazing. It's really great. And the Revos, would I get a Revo if I broke them? And the answer is yes. I've got several Revos. And I just think Aspire has really got a good place in the market. And that's one thing I was going to talk about a little bit, is just how the vape companies sit in the market and sort of where they are. The Aspire folks are a little bit on the higher end. I mean, it's not SX where they're charging a lot, and Aspire doesn't charge particularly a lot, but Aspire has gone to the trouble of opening up distribution centers in the US for warranty returns and making sure that your stores have the stuff and to sell it into the US. They take requests from the US into the Chinese offices to create new coils and things like for the nicotine salts. We influenced them to come and make new coils just for nic salts based on the Breeze, the original Breeze, and now the Cleto and everything else. And the Breeze 2 is the benefactor of that. The new UTech coil is what this is. And they put a lot of work into insourcing their engineering to make the good chips. They're experimenting with 2700s and 21700s. And so Aspire is one of my favorite hardware manufacturers because they put the effort in to make sure that they can service things that break, that they listen to people's feedback and make devices that are useful and have good flavor. And they're focused on quitting smoking and good flavor and good performance. They have always been there for the quitters with the Zelos kit, the Nautilus, Nautilus 2, Nautilus Mini, Nautilus everything. That BVC coil has been in production for years and years and years. They've sold more than 20 million of them and they keep selling them. So I admire their commitment to that. So anyway, stopping all the brown nosing, I just really love Aspire. I think they're great. And so I've been happy with the stuff that I got this year. And I'm looking forward to the Puxos and some of the other stuff that we have too. So what do y'all think? What do you think about your Aspire gear? I guess we're going to have a little hangout here since most of the primary part of the show is over. What about that Aspire tank with a huge coil similar to Revo Arc coils? Dr. Dolphy, you're talking about the Revo? Isn't that the Revo that you're talking about? I think. Right. Because the other one with huge coils is the Cleto, and there's an updated version of that coming out next Monday, and it uses Cleto coils, the regular ones, and maybe has some new ones too. And so he said for his Cleto cap, he had to heat his to get it to mold on a little bit better. Yeah, so there are some problems with these. I haven't been too unhappy just using it like this. Sometimes I have to pick fuzz out of it occasionally. I do that. Oh, I do. Yes, I do. Wow. That black licorice from Van Gogh Vapes is delicious. Don't forget that we're going to be at West Coast Vape Expo. Join us at West Coast Vape Expo, July 6th, 7th, and 8th. That's going to be awesome. Make sure you seek me out and find me. Yum. Gary, yeah, I mean, I mentioned the Revo. The Revo is the tank that the Mace, this is the most copied tank of the year. This has been copied by the guys at Mace and Ample. Like I've got the Ample tank sitting right over here somewhere. What did I do with you, Ample? That's the Mace tank you're talking about. Oh, here it is over here. Right there. And quite so. These are the ones, this is the only successful copy of the Revo all year long. The Mace is good. The other guys have tried to copy it and failed miserably, I think, but the Mace itself is pretty good. And Mike Buryanek says Aspire got him off SIGs. That's right. They're committed to that. That's really great, actually. Glad. And JT Munn, anise flavored e-juice. Yep, that's exactly right. This is Black Licorice by Van Gogh Vapes House of Candy. I love this stuff. It's one of their new, more affordable lines. And this is a basic candy vape, and you have to like black licorice for sure, but I do. And it is yummy. It has a real mild taste to it. It isn't like crazy bold in your face at all, so that's nice. Hey Chris, nice to see you. Yeah, yum. So that's what I think. I think it's pretty good. I like these things. The YouTube stream is telling me that it says that it looks bad. I hope it doesn't. I think it might be lying. We were having a good conversation with Chris and a bunch of with Jameson, some other people, and Mike and Marcus and Michaela and everybody else on the Instagram beforehand about mouth to lung and how it's kind of a specialized thing and some tanks are good for it and bad for it. We were just discussing it generally. And yes, that is the Breeze 2, Chris. I just did a full sort of like re-look at all of these things, just a few minutes there. And this is one of the ones I said, yeah, notice how it's all banged up. I use it all the time. It's really good. This coil's got superlative flavor. I just ordered a bunch of these and They're good. I like them. Don't know when they're going to be here, but I had a few, and now I have none. I got one left. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, pretty much. There have only been a few mouth-to-lung RTA devices that have even been introduced recently that are any good, and the Kfun Prime was the most recent Kfun, but even it's kind of old, if I recall correctly. But even it's a little bit old. And you know, the only other real competition, in my opinion, is that Joytech atomizer that Phil and Dimitri did is pretty good. I would give that a good number, a good close second, because the kit it comes with is great. It's a great beginner kit for RTAs, and it kind of took me back to the old days of building, and I liked that. JT Munn said he typed in Kfun Prime, and yeah, his phone decided to type whatever it wanted. I understand, buddy. We understood what you meant. We totally got it. It was all good. So it's 30 minutes after the hour. We're going to wrap this up here probably in 15 or 20 minutes. I've got to go do a bunch of stuff today. What are you going to do today? We are going to go and run billions of errands. I have to install a new phone holder on my scooter, and I was toying with the idea of maybe going out to see Good Juice Vapes if we have time on the peninsula, if they're out there. The Innican Aries, thank you so much, Subom Sapper, Rob Lee. Innican Aries, oh, that was killing me. That is the name of the other MTL RTA that I think is okay. And there have been a couple of other good ones, but I just am not thrilled with the flavor. That Aries had something flavor-wise that I thought was good. I don't own the Kfun Prime, but I've got some of the other good best hits. And my favorite one of the ones I've got is, of course, the Typhoon GT2. This is also a great one. The Kfun Prime would be nice to have, actually, as an upgrade for me because it's quite a bit smaller than this. This is a very large RTA, and so I don't use it that much, unfortunately, because of my predilection for like small kits. Looks like the Jameson's going to make some DIY today. That sounds really good. And Dr. Dolphy, no, don't be sorry. You got it exactly right. That is exactly right. You associated those correctly. The Mace tank is the one that's like the Revo. That's right. It just happens that the Revo happened first. They sort of like did this, and everyone's like, "What?" And they tried to copy it. The worst one was the Maze tank, which was horrible. And then that Mace tank by Ample, it's good. I actually use this tank. You notice it's loaded up, sitting on my desk. I actually use it, and I'm a little ashamed that sometimes I put it on the SkyStar and I'm like, oh God, should I post a picture of that or not? I do not vape these at 97 watts though, because this one doesn't like to be that hot. This one's more like a 75 watter, something like that. JT Mon, you should send the Ammon RTA to try out. Yeah, I've heard about that, and of course it completely slipped my mind. But I have actually I've sort of looked at the porn and glanced at it. I'm interested. Rob Lee got the Kfun 5 squared last week. Nice. So that'll be here soon. Okay. And you'll have that for the show too. You can show me all about it. We can maybe build it together. That'd be cool. And you've got 2 of them. That's cool. Yum. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that this is like the best flavor chasing RTA out there, but it's pretty darn good. And it's a little bit of a version of the Revo that is a little bit less weepy. That's another thing I should talk about, is that the Revos do leak pretty good. And one of the things I should mention is I recommend that you always rinse these out every morning. Rinse the top caps out, because what happens is that inevitably a lot of turbulence inside here, which is not a big problem in and of itself, gets in here and it inevitably comes out the airflow holes. So if you don't watch out, or if you overfill this and there's e-liquid on top of the coil, you will end up having this drip out the side. So if you keep the top clean, the Revo is killer. The Ample Mace, to its credit, is a more traditional design with the airflow at the bottom, but it doesn't ever leak at all because it has a top airflow. And what am I running in the B2K? You know what? That is a good question. That is one of Jason Coyle and Tin's huge fused Claptons I have in here. That's a 5 wrap, 0.2 And I don't remember how many cores that has or what it's made of. I believe it's Canthal A1, and I think it's a 3-core if I'm not mistaken. We just did this the other day on Instagram Live, but it works killer. And it, like I said, it comes out to about 0.2. I'll check that again for you. Here it is. I'll put it on the blade because it's handy and has batteries in it. New. Yeah, 0.21. So that's about where I thought. So 0.21 with a full battery, I'm getting about 80 watts out of this. And with an empty battery, getting quite a bit less. Only takes 20 amps. It's only a 20 amp build, so I really like that. I'm going to tell you how many amps this thing works on. So it's 0.21. When the batteries are dead, it's about 58 watts. And when the batteries are full, it's about 80. So that's pretty good, to be honest, with an 18650. And it goes between 17 and 20 watts. Yeah, it is pretty good. So all of you guys who, I'm interested in, Dan, which one of you guys said that you blasted this thing with some heat to get it to work? Because the only reason this works is because the air comes in the side. And otherwise, actually, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't work without that. So it's on the side there. Without my little plastic top, I haven't had any trouble with this thing at all. They never get munged up or anything. Oh, I should have been doing that. Why wasn't I doing that? I was on the wrong camera. Wrong camera. See you, Chris. Thank you. It's great to see you. Yeah, I just found out that these pods are available in the UK starting Monday, which I guess they've been in short supply. Honk. This is the pod. That's the refill mechanism. And it's really simple. You change them from the top. For those of you who missed the first half of the show. Here, JT, man, I can put that URL in there. There we go. I didn't find one though. It's so weird how some of my URLs are clickable and some aren't. Can't predict. Thank Google for that. Oh, Vape guy Gary mentioned the Savior MTL. Thank you very much. Almost forgot about that one. Still got the OBS Engine 2. Still got my old DNA. Look how that thing's looking. This thing is really getting old. And it's still working. Out of the 4 batteries I got, one of them is still working perfectly. Old Vape guy Gary, or actually, that question wasn't for you. I was going to ask Jason Coil and 10 to recondition some of these old batteries I have for this. But that's only 75 watts, and look, I've been vaping this morning, and it's already half dead. The battery life on these is terrible. Yum. Love this thing. But even this LiPo mod is another reason. It reminds me all the time why I switched to 2700. Ah, my batteries. There's only one left out of the 4 we put in before the show. And they're charging up. Heinrich Hansen, how long do the pods last? At least a couple of weeks. In my case. I vape one of these little pods for, sometime around the end of the second week, I start going, they're kind of weird. And your mileage may vary, depends on how much you vape. I don't vape tons. I sort of take bathroom breaks every 4 or 5 hours. I'm hearing about the Convergent RTA with the DTL airflow ring. That sounds interesting too. So I'm Eli Juicy Jones. All of you guys who are here and gals, click on the Discord link down there and join us on Discord. We're there all day, every day, 5 days, 7 days a week. And then you can chat with us. We're going to wrap this up here in just a few minutes. I'm Eli Juicy Jones, and this is Orbital Vaping Headquarters. And I really am glad that all you have tuned in. I don't know why I just lost my mind there for a second. I'm really glad. We're going to be at the West Coast Vape Expo in just a couple of weeks from today. And I want all of you who are in Washington State or anywhere near here in Canada, Idaho, Utah, California, Oregon, drive up here, hang out with us, come over there. And I want to thank everybody who came and chatted with us. We had a great discussion today about Aspire, mouth to lung stuff, everything. Heinrich Hansen, the Jameson, JT Munn, Roan Yoon, Michaela, who else? Everybody, Keith, JT, Jeremy, Henrik, Jameson, all of you guys, thank you so much for coming to the show, and I really appreciate it. I am going to grab a vape. This is my B2K with my feed link. I've got extra batteries right over here for this because you got to have a lot of batteries with a feed link because it's 18650. And we're going to vape out. Yum. Thank you.